Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for being here. It's a lovely day, and I'm very pleased to see so many nice faces. My name is Anna Krause, and I am the Executive Director of the Kids Ranch. And I have some very large shoes to fill, very large. And I take that very seriously. One of our focuses since I have come on and I came on in November, was to beef up our mental wellness program. So this summer at the ranch, we have a social worker who comes on Mondays and an art therapist who comes Wednesday through Thursday. And we are thrilled to have them on board. We also have a naturalist who comes in and works with the children because that's one of the things they love to do is play outside. We recently had the opportunity to be a featured charity in one of the local area very large foundations. We are the featured charity of choice for the Nelson Family Foundation. And they did a very nice feature story on us. And on that page, if you have the opportunity to go, there is a sentence there that says, at the Kids Ranch, children are allowed to have the childhood that they're supposed to have. And I think that's the goal, is to try to make sure that these children have the childhood that they were meant to have. So we are very, very pleased that Jenna was so kind to come up and talk about her experience and her journey through mental wellness. And we know how important it is. And we're very glad to see that you are here tonight as well. So thank you so much.
This is my first time presenting an author. It makes me nervous because I realize that I have a lot of pressure to choose the right words right before an author. My name is Ari Smouter, and I am on the cheerleading squad for Jenna. A number of years ago, I was the board president for the Kids Ranch. This was shortly after Ann Rakos had passed away. Ann's family had asked if I would host a remembrance at the Kids Ranch. I met Ann's goddaughter, a charming young lady with a lovely spirit. As I got to know her, I learned that Jenna is bright, energetic, creative, and passionate, and is the type of young lady who will change our world. I truly believe that she will change our world. And therefore, she is the type of person that I want to know and support and encourage. My hope is that through this presentation, you'll learn why I think Jenna is an incredible lady. And my hope is that through meeting Jenna and reading her book and learning about mental health through her experiences, you will permit yourself to change and grow, and hopefully our world will be better for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jenna Knapp.
One purse, one pocket mirror, one blue shirt, one long floral dress, one light jean jacket, one red windbreaker, one pair of hiking boots, one hanging closet organizer, one blue comb, one travel-side Aragon hair oil, one roll of undeveloped film, one disposable camera with 3 photos left, one memory card, one fortune from a fortune cookie, one post-it note about procrastination, one book about the Galapagos Islands, one book about Zimbabwe, one book about the law of attraction, one book about being present, 5 handwritten letters from me, 2 plants, 3 mugs, 2 pieces of pottery, 2 prints, one picture of the 3 of us, one figurine holding forget-me-nots, one figurine that says hope, one gift certificate, one savings card, one family immigration history card, one deck of playing cards, one tablecloth, one oscillating fan, one rocking chair, 1 chair cushion, 4 cloth napkins, 1 unopened crock pot, 1 lease renewal notice that hung on her door, the water bottle we found in her car, a set of porcelain plates, and the cardboard box your ashes came in. I kept things I did not need, but wanted to remember you with, as if I could forget you later on. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for the beautiful introductions. That is the list that inspired the title of the book. I want to address the trigger warning behind me. This is extremely personal information that covers really sensitive topics about mental health and my bipolar disorder, which I like to call bipolar power nowadays, depression, suicide, and some other mental health things relating to anxiety and variety of subjects. So I encourage everyone to take care of themselves. I know that sometimes that can be overwhelming, and so you can stand up, you can walk around the back of the room if you need to, you can leave, you can get a drink of water, whatever you have to do. I just want you to take care of yourself. But I really appreciate everyone choosing to be here with us tonight, and for the invitation and idea to come and do this in Anne's community. It is a very good feeling to be here in this room with you. One thing that I want to do is bring her voice into the space, and because it might have been a while since you have heard it. I turned this voicemail that she left me from 2015, I think, into a short video piece when I was applying to a residency in London, where I wrote the first draft of the book, and this video helped me get into the residency. It all is inspired by this happy birthday voicemail she left me, but I also thought it would be a nice idea for us to invite her in so that she can be present with us today too.
Hey Jenna, it's Auntie Ann. I just wanted to call and wish you a happy birthday. I hope you had a great time last night and you were safe and all that good stuff, but had a wonderful, wonderful time with whatever you ended up doing. So happy birthday to you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day and a great new year coming up. And I saw that you picked up my card. I hope you found it amusing. Unfortunately, they cut off the end of it. I don't know if you realize what she was trying to say. And it said, think pina coladas, but they cut off the end of it. So sorry about that. Anyway, owe you a picture of them when you get a chance. We'll do some more celebrating, that's for sure. So take care. Happy. Love ya. Bye-bye.
Sometimes I can feel you so clearly. Sometimes you come to me through other people, or a song on the radio, or an animal crossing my path. And of course, all of that is so cliche, but it is still true. But what I really mean to say is that I lay in bed and ask that you will visit me in my dreams. But is that cliche too? But what I'm really trying to say is that I hold ceremonies to make my room clean, an inviting space for you to visit me while I sleep. Then the next morning, on the way to work, when there's that song on the radio, it's you, just like I asked. And I wonder if you knew you would die when you promised to keep Grandma's porcelain plates packed safely in a box for me until I got married. If I don't get married, can I still use the plates? And when I get really caught up thinking about how convincing you sounded when you told me you'd keep them for me just 1 month before you jumped, I listen to the voicemails that are left on my phone, over and over again, until I memorize them. And then I record those voicemails onto a tape, and then that tape onto another tape, and then that tape onto another tape. You said you couldn't wait to celebrate with me. Another birthday, another pitcher of virgin pina coladas. And you laughed a little bit, and you told me you loved me. And when I want to hear your voice at night, I play that voicemail. And when I forget your laugh, I watch that video you made me when I was leaving the state. And then when I watch that video, I fall to pieces because I can't wait to see you again. And I'm back where I started, and I don't know which is better or which is worse. But I know my mother moved those porcelain plates to her own garage. And someday, when I have a table to lay them out on, I can put those tapes on and make us a meal. So Anne to me was not only just an aunt, but very much like a mother figure and a friend. And she never had any kids of her own. She lived a fiercely independent life. But I chose this photo that's sort of embedded in the S on the cover of the book and makes its way into a lot of different pieces of mine. But I love this photo so much because it's taken in Madison and my mom is pregnant with me. And they both just look so happy. I love it. And I feel like this is how I spent a lot of my time growing up, is like in spaces with both of them, just smiling. They like loved and hate each other at the same time. And but just like we're so at the core of it, in love with each other. And my mom loved her so much that she shared that gift of having a child with her. And we had so many weekends together where we would meet in Madison back when we lived in New Glarus, and meet at the mall every weekend, and we would have like sort of a routine where she'd like bend down on the ground, open her arms wide up and yell, "Come to me, baby," and just like treating me like she was like I was her own. And as I grew up, I'm an only child too, and I think that's an important thing to note. As I grew up and my parents went through their divorce, I like kind of stopped talking openly about a lot of things. But one weird thing was that during that time, I was really getting into email, and so was she. So we would like email back and forth to each other on Yahoo, and I have thousands of emails. And she just played a huge role in my life, even in the times where we weren't physically together. And later on in life, we got to travel together a lot. And I just want to like take a moment to like thank you, Mom, for giving me all those years with her and letting me learn what it's like to, I don't know, like experience unconditional love firsthand. So I just wanted to set that scene a little bit and provide context for that photo. We can go on to the next one, which is a photo that's taken on June 5th from 2015. June 4th is technically the day that the coroner said that she died, but June 5th, some of the people in this room know, was the day that she was officially listed as missing, and we kind of had to go on a hunt of sorts for her. And this piece called 2 Missed Calls is in the first draft of the book, the first book that didn't make it into the final one, but I'll share it with you. On Thursday night, June 4th, I had 2 missed calls from my mom, one at 9:50 p.m. and one at 10 p.m. I was too tired to call her back. The next morning, I call work and say that I won't be coming in today and that I have to head home to be with my mom. My aunt, she's missing, I say over the phone to the boy that works at the front desk. He wishes me luck and excuses my absence. I breathe quickly and contemplate throwing the only black dress that I have into my bag. I do. The black shoes go too. An hour search turns into an answer, and an answer turns into a week-long stay, and a week-long stay turns into a celebration of life ceremony, and I don't want to wear the dress that I brought from home because it's too tight and it's heavy for the early heat of June. I run out to the store to find a replacement, something that will make breathing easier. I convince myself that it shouldn't be black for a moment and immediately change my mind in case my tears fall off my face and hit the fabric. I find one that hits my knees just right and looks somewhat formal, but makes breathing easier. I can fool everyone, I think. I make noises that don't even sound like crying while I view her body in this dress. I pick out an urn with my mother and watch her sign the cremation papers in this dress. I arrange the service in this dress. I attend the service in this dress. I speak at the service in this dress. I hold on to the ashes in this dress. I can feel the bone fragments in this dress. I blow the ashes into the wind in this dress. I cover myself in her gray powder in this dress. It's been almost 3 months since I bought the dress, and it's been 3 months since I changed my nail polish from a salmon color to a light jade green. Green is healing, they say, and it's been 3 months since I cut my bangs and watched the hair fall into the sink, and it's been 3 months since I've plucked my eyebrows, and it's been 3 months of not wearing foundation in the fear that the tan tears will stain my black dress that I like to wear on the days I feel like dying. So a big thing to note about this book and its origin is that the closeness that I felt with her triggered a really intense depression for me. I had gone through a situational depression during the time of my parents' divorce when I was 15 and kind of came out of it, was on and off antidepressants for a short amount of time, but really never felt like mental health was like a permanent thing to worry about in my life. They call it situational, and I believe that. But a lot of times with mental health, trauma can trigger things to unfold more rapidly. And if you have a gene or you're predisposed to it, that can just be the thing that pushes you over the edge. And because a lot of the way that things unfolded about the hunt and the search and like how she chose to do it and just the abruptness of how we lost her was traumatic, and I lived with PTSD for I would say like a full year, and there are still like tiny baby triggers that I have to watch out for, but I'm much better. So this book is definitely a look at my own mental health, and I call it a non-linear memoir that sort of chapters this period, but it jumps back and forth because it documents my own mental health and goes then to focus on her and sort of switches back and forth, and I try to intertwine it with different themes. And one of the themes that is throughout the whole book is plants and growing and growth. We unlock the door to her apartment. She isn't home, but it smells like her, like the lake house that she just moved from, earthy and warm, like a worn flannel shirt smells after a rainstorm. We look around at all the stuff and question whether we should hire professionals to pack it all up and take it away, wondering if that would make it less painful. I sit on her couch and find one of her hairs stuck to the purple cloth, gray at the root and golden at the tip. I wonder which spot on the couch was the last place she sat as my mom offers me a diet caffeine-free Coke from her fridge. I stare at the hibiscus plant that she loves so much and had for over 13 years in her home on the lake. My mom told me that the plant started to die as soon as she moved from the lake to the apartment, and I say that she started to die too. All of the leaves had fallen to the ground, except for one. The last leaf falls while we stand in her home, trying to figure out why she left her dishwasher open. I feel sick at the thought of going through her closet and smelling the clothes that I dressed her in as her body shrank and the elastic on her waistband barely hugged her hips. And I don't let my mom fix the blinds in her bedroom that the police intentionally made crooked after the silver alert was issued. And I don't like the conversation about deciding who gets what and what will end up at the secondhand store and find its way into a stranger's home. I take one of the plants that was sitting next to her water glass on the kitchen counter and wonder if I can save it since I couldn't save her. Instead, 3 days later, I am laying in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling and worrying that my plant won't make it through my absence, just as the hibiscus dropped its last leaves without Anne's care. I don't know if I will make it back to my jade tree, but I promise myself that if I do, and if it's still alive, I will move slow enough to watch it grow. Now I am home, and I am keeping the jade tree alive, and I am convinced that I am keeping myself healthy by surrounding myself with green plants that filter my air. It's working, so I buy myself an aloe plant for the invisible scars from her death. And I buy a tropical plant that sheds red cases when the waxy leaves emerge. It reminds me of the time we walked through the botanical garden together. And I took a clipping of my mother's spider plant. She promises those are hard to kill. And I hang a fern above our spices in the kitchen. It catches the light just right. And I pot the sage and the basil in the windowsill. I like to rub it on my hands and touch the face with the smell. And when my mom suggests that maybe I am developing a green thumb, I deny it and tell her, no, I just have something to wake up for in the morning. Side note is that the jade tree definitely died, but the second one that I took is alive and it's back there. And I just found out that it's a Christmas cactus. Yeah. And for the first time in 3 years, new little baby buds are coming on it. So yay! And my Uncle Mike saved the hibiscus plant, right? And it rebloomed that same winter, like in the middle of the winter, so. And my mom and I got hibiscus flower matching tattoos on the 1-year anniversary. Just, you can really see it's like intertwined in our lives pretty intensely. Which I'm sure happens for a lot of people when you lose someone that you love. Try to picture it golden, she said, in therapy to me in the hospital chair. Across from her, she did not jump, she stepped into another dimension. I shake and say I'm cold, that's all, and want to believe her badly. She says, write a letter to her, and I do, and it brings out the most and all the would-haves and should-haves. The purple marker bleeds from the pages that I fill, a reminder that a pen would be better, but there are no sharp objects allowed in this kind of hospital. I show her the letter. She notes the gradient of the ink. I note the guilt and pain sitting at the center of my chest. That knot. They call it anxiety. I say it is my heart breaking. And soon, nothing feels safe, like my lungs and ribs were being taken into the vortex, that hole. The chest pains warranted anxiety pills, the night terrors warranted sleeping tablets, and the grief was complicated enough to warrant antidepressants. Fast forward from the 2-hall inpatient unit to the partial program, where half days and time slowed down, and moments felt like hours, and we poured our grief onto the table and invited everyone to wade. But I was feeling good, maybe great, maybe cured, confidently leading us through the pool we have created, offering life vests, promising I can make them float. Golden. I land in the office of my therapist that led me through my parents' divorce 7 years ago. She notices the fast speech, big plans, confident delivery, and creative buzz, and asks if I have ever tested for that mood disorder that starts with a capital B, and is there any family history? That hole opens up and makes itself comfortable, nestled in my chest as I remember. Well, my senior year of college, my grandma told me that my dad's dad had been bipolar, always shifting, switching, taking all of his extra energy out on her, blowing money at the casino, grabbing their daughters by the hair, but then he would be grateful, great, wonderful, farmer, husband, father, for a moment before it wasn't golden anymore. Golden. She moves down the list of questions. Have you ever experienced superhuman type feelings before? Well, yes, but isn't it that normal to be so sure of oneself? I tell her about the golden shield around my waist that has been protecting me for the past year. Golden, grandiose. Wait, stop, slow down here. Take a deep breath. This is a lot to hear. But it looks like you test positive, you see. The antidepressants triggered this mania, and you'll feel golden too often, I fear. Golden, diagnosed, for something I thought only my father's father had. And now it's just me, glowing, golden, center stage. STD tests to measure the damage done, blood tests for lithium toxicity, mood stabilizers to neutralize, and appointments to rationalize. And what if I can go back before the diagnosis, when all I was trying to do was picture her death as golden? She was golden, now she is gone, and I'm here shining, brighter, bipolar. We searched her apartment for a letter, and instead we found the pizza she ordered at dinner the last night I saw her, unfinished and styrofoam shut. And an hour later, I dropped the great popsicle I got from her freezer on the hot pavement when we found the letter she left us in her garage. How's everyone doing? Good? Okay. The graduation speech I gave just a little over a year ago talked about the building on Center Street that was set aflame and wiped out an entire art community, and the Union Building across from our college that used to be a gay bar before it was a coffee shop, and prairie burns. I talked about how it could be healthy to set a field aflame in the fall to make room for new growth after the winter ground thaws. And you were there, in the crowd, looking down at me on the stage that I was so nervous to trip on. You told me that I did a good job. You stayed for the entirety of the family dinner down the street, even when my dad had to leave in the middle of it. You stayed after everyone left and took a nap on my bed with me and my mom. You stayed until we all woke up and decided to celebrate with ice cream. You were there when I talked about fire being healthy. And then you weren't. And then we were in the funeral home signing papers to allow for your cremation, looking at expensive urns and choosing a box instead. And when we got the box 2 days later, they said, "Don't be afraid of the bone fragments. It's normal." And the box is heavy, heavier than you would expect. But when a body is turned into ash, I guess it makes perfect sense. And it's not a burial, but my mom keeps you in her trunk and has ever since June 4th. But you're also in the field, and you're also in Lake Michigan, and you're also embedded into the fine cracks of my hands from when I clutched onto the ash before the wind took it away. And you're on my lips from when I kissed my hands once you were gone. And we will take you to the Pacific and put you in the ocean with the whales and the coral and the fish that you taught me to love and saw long before the sea life started losing color. And I'll be holding my mom's hand the whole way there, wondering if we will feel better once we've provided you with a proper burial. Because maybe we can erase feeling lost once you're out of the trunk and in your final resting place. And maybe we would have rather put you 6 feet under selfishly so we could visit. But it is no coincidence that you told my mom that you preferred to become ash just 5 days before you jumped. And maybe that was a hint or the best way you knew how to say goodbye, because the letter that you left didn't give us any answers, and it was exhausting trying to figure it all out. I'm exhausted trying to figure it all out. And I want to know if it was day or night. And I want to know if you saw the water below the cliff. And I want to know if you thought the trees might catch you. And I want to know if you jumped because you didn't want my mother to find you in your apartment. And I want to know why there was a flashlight in the side door of your car. And I want to know when you stopped looking at your phone. And I want to know how much caffeine-free Diet Coke you drank and how many pretzels and grapes you packed when you left that day. And I want to know if you hadn't locked your keys in your trunk, would you have changed your mind? And I want to know how your fragile body even climbed that high. And I want to know if anyone was around. And I want to know why did you choose that date. And I want to know how long you had been planning it. And I want to know. But you won't tell me, and I should have asked. The worst part about depression is that it is invisible. And the best part about depression is that it is invisible. And when I come to the ocean and look at the water and walk down the pier and see the blue signs every 20 feet that say, "No jumping," I think about jumping. But I know it wouldn't kill me, so that would be a waste of time to just get wet and have strangers help me and ask, "What were you thinking?" And I would tell them that I was thinking about being covered in her ash, and that I considered jumping off the bridges instead. And I am considering falling into the subway track so it would look like an accident. And that I fantasize about water pouring into any room that I am standing in. Everyone would be panicking, but I would be sitting there and letting the water come up to my neck and think of that couple that sat in their room on the Titanic when they knew the ship was going down, peaceful and accepting. And they call that passive suicidal, but I call it temporary relief. Because the body isn't tangible, really. It is only composed of lots and lots of ash that could fit into a box in the back of my mother's trunk. So a lot of these pieces were clearly written in like the severity of my depression. And I always feel like so grateful to like read them in the place that I am now, looking back and being like, wow, that feels like a different person but I'm also so glad that it exists in the world, because I know that there are people every single day that feel that way and wonder what the heck is wrong with me. And really it's just your mind's defense mechanism, like trying to like sort through, and it's a cry for help. And normally when people get thoughts that intense, that's when they start to seek help and start to talk about it. So if anyone ever says anything to you where they're in a state of crisis, listen. Her lack of dopamine turned into depression. The Parkinson's expected to manifest more physically took her mind claiming, it just doesn't work like it used to. Knowing that she would become more like her mother, too young to give up, too stoic to show fear, she shed the shock after that summer and enjoyed the doctor's prescribed honeymoon phase with more than one trip. Far away, staycations, backyards, barbecues, oceans, beaches, shores, snorkeling, where her body was suspended, surrendered to the water. A baptism, an escape, a destination, a deep appreciation. She swam deeper than her sister and me. She would go out further and further to the place where the water changed from blue to dark. Finding a world flooded with dopamine, the solution, the cure. Instead of worry, instead of anticipation, instead of stiffening muscles and shaking knees, floating, not frozen, she rescued herself from the years of fear, choosing life until she couldn't live in her own skin anymore. Fuck dopamine, depression, deep water without you. You're the teacher of treading water and the prize winner of not exhausting the fight. To say enough is enough before shoulders slouch, elbows rattle, and ankles trace circles on dining room floors. To say, mind, I won't let you play tricks, no hallucinations or delusions. The heaviest one, that I'm a burden to bear, because my people, they would carry me up mountains and take me to the sea. But instead, I am choosing to say, we had a good run, my love, after returning home from the honeymoon. So one of the greatest gifts was being able to travel with her throughout like about a 7-year period. She absolutely loved to snorkel, and back in a while ago, before like days of Expedia and online travel agencies, she was her own travel agent and organized trips to Galapagos Islands and safaris in Africa, and loved Hawaii dearly. I was so fortunate enough to be able to go to Hawaii with her one time. And then the second time that I was in Kauai was to go with my mom. That's where we spread her ashes in the ocean, some of her ashes. The musician who is wonderful and has the most beautiful version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, was her favorite song, and I feel like that was a way that she started to communicate with rainbows, and I've started to document with making a little rainbow archive of all the times that she pops up, and it's always really in like perfect timing. We put you in your favorite place off the back of the boat that day while your favorite song played, and now when we see rainbows, it's like you're saying hi. I say thank you. So yeah, we were able to, we were on a whale watching boat tour on the Nepali coast, and my mom didn't know that this is happening, but I like snuck to talk to the captain and ask, like, would it be possible if we were able to like drop some ashes in the water? And he's like, yeah, actually there's this like one really specific spot that's perfect for that. And he took us there and he let us go on the back of the boat, and a rainbow wasn't in the sky or anything like that, but he then played that song while we did that and had like a little private ceremony at sea. And it makes me mad, actually, that I have to visit the water to visit you. that I get excited about a sign when all I want to do is sit across the table from you. But please, don't stop visiting me. I will never move on from the spot, event, day that kept me frozen in time when she stopped breathing, when she stopped wanting to. I will never move on from the place of remembrance and regret and wishing for one more chance to say, I'm here in that parking lot. I will stay centered in my grief, no need to participate in society's plea of shock, then denial, then depression, then acceptance. I will move through the stages at my own pace, apologizing to no one except for her and waiting for the answer I know I will hear. That it is okay. It wasn't you, it was me, my body, and my time to undo the pain that was built up even though I tried to deny the face of choosing another day. I want you to move on, only when you are ready. Tomorrow, next month, next anniversary, next year. But I know it's not that easy to encourage an end to a chapter you never started writing and wait for a letter you never received. To give your love to a handful of ashes as you send it to the sea, thinking that would unleash a healing that no burial could achieve. To wash yourself in the water that the ashes did fall, to bathe, baptize, and swear to begin again every time, over and over again. But there are not enough ashes to move on from this feeling, not enough water in the world to wash out this absence, when everything is informed by your presence. And I don't need it any other way. I am comfortable in my grief, now more than ever. There is a space that is no longer a hole, but a memory of you, where I carry the wishes, regrets, and repercussions that my mother said has made me even more alive. Weathering the storm, not moving on, not silent, not sad, but strong and confident that this is the new world and there is no trying to get over the best friend I ever had. If I can just focus on how she lived rather than how she died, and that it wasn't selfish, it was selfless, and that those feelings are old even though they still feel new. But this is now and it is okay to make room for change and love and laughter. And I don't have to wear my black dress every day to let the world know I am grieving, because who knows what I will be laughing at about a year from now. I can't know, and no one is going to tell me. No one is telling us, and we just have to trust that this is for the best. It's okay to drink the lake, wade in her ashes, watch the water below the bluff, and keep the things I didn't think I needed, because I do, and it's okay. It's okay.